Welcome everyone to this special live session in the Guardian Alliance. As we've come into this beautiful, rich, ripe end of summer, we're starting to draw back in and come back together and cultivate and co-create a new space from which we can move forward into this fall and winter. This year has been quite an intense ride for many of us, and there are many people out there that are going through a lot of challenges, experiencing a lot of pain, and experiencing a lot of struggle in this time. I am also one of these people, and I myself have been really going through the ringer this summer and really experiencing this forge, this fiery forge that's just tempering me and beating on me and, shaping the blade of who I am and who I'm going to become so I can give my gift even more deeply. But in this journey for me, I've also found that there have been times that I've gotten a little lost and I've felt so overwhelmed and so completely surrounded by the craziness in the collective field, the madness of humanity trying to somehow see itself, to come to a place of clarity where it can actually see what it has done, see the effect that it has made on this planet and on itself, and actually go through some kind of self-realization process to change our activities, to change how we behave, and to change how we feel on the inside. And so today I'm joined by a very special guest. Her name is Sonya Sophia, and Sonya Sophia is the founder of the World Tapping Circle, which she's going to tell you a little bit more about. And she also has a school of living arts where she shares different gifts in specifically using a special modality called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. Some of you watching this may already be familiar with this specific technique, but today Sonya is going to bring us into awareness around this specific healing modality, which can help us tune into and work with some of these deep emotional challenges that come during these times of great change. So Sonya, I would love to just welcome you in. Thank you so much for being with us here today in the Guardian Alliance.
Thank you, Adam. This is such a privilege. I'm so excited to be here. We've been talking about this work, doing work together for years, and here we are. Wow. So, hi, everyone. I'm in love with world changers, and I know that's who you are. You're here to improve yourself, to grow your own superpowers, to light those up for the very same reasons that Adam and I are here, which is to be who we were born to be in this world and to give our gifts fully. And each of us has this important, crucial, unique piece of the puzzle. And as we connect those pieces, the whole begins to blossom and grow and thrive. So as much as it seems like, well, what can one little person do? I asked myself that. What can one little mama do? And I'm sure Adam asked himself that. And here we are moving through all these layers of fears and doubts and insecurities. And I don't know how to do it. And what will happen ifs? And as we all clear those same messages, the cultural conditioning out of our nervous systems, we become beacons of light and strong, clear, activated souls who download intuitively what we're supposed to do and find the help that we need and join forces to create something really exquisite and healing and healthy and playful and joyous and fun. So, wow, I'm so happy that we're here together.
So good to have you here. And so we're gonna talk with Sonya a little bit about her journey, and I just want to talk with her with you guys and explore some of our adventures perhaps that we've had together. But please stick around, because before the end of the session, Sonya is going to bring us in through a tapping session to actually do some really direct work on our meridians open up our energy bodies and help us to move through some of these emotional fields that we're trying to process right now. Sonya, where did you first discover EFT, and how did you get started in the journey of working with this tool?
As a healer, I spent 25 years trying different healing modalities, studying, and most importantly, working on myself and trying those things out on myself. So I learned all kinds of things. I was a deep meditator, steady practice for 10 years. I did yoga, Kundalini exercises, meditation. I've read a library worth of books in the healing arts and was doing intuitive energy work with people and body work and counseling. And over time, no matter what I was doing, I was frustrated that people were making gradual, slow progress, but they would take 3 steps forward and slide 1 to 2 steps back. And then, this very slow kind of progress. I found the same thing happening in me, even though I was doing rituals and ceremonies and meditations and making art out of things and setting things on fire and calling in the angels and doing everything that we learn how to do in these alternative realms, affirmations and all sorts of things. And so I prayed kind of a dangerous prayer, which was, don't give me what I want, give me what I need. And in that moment, I noticed that I was starting to kind of break down. I was having kind of you could say a burnout, professional burnout, after working and working and working to clear myself, but also to help these other people. Simultaneously, I was dating someone who was incredibly brilliant, and by day was this amazing healer, and by night I realized how to split personality. And one night I woke up and he was whispering evil things in my ears while I slept, and I was like, oh my gosh. So we separated, but this person was psychically attacking me, and somewhere in the middle of all this stuff, I just collapsed and I had a nervous breakdown where I couldn't finish a sentence. My brain was so fried and my body would shake, and I just withdrew from society. And I had a friend who was really concerned about me. She noticed I wasn't around for 2 months. I wasn't answering the phone. I wasn't returning emails. I was just a mess. And she had learned EFT in a weekend workshop and asked if she could come over and practice what she learned on me. And I said, sure, because I had nothing left. And, healers often don't like to get healed because they think they know everything. And that was one of those little ego breakthroughs that I had, was I didn't know how to heal this and I couldn't fix myself. So she came over, we sat across my kitchen table, and she tapped on me because I was just too floppy to even do it on myself. She wrote a few things down, and I just remember sobbing and sobbing and sobbing and not even being able to get a word out. She just tapped on me and said stuff, asked me some questions, and I bubbled out some answers. In an hour, I felt like I had been processing my trauma for 6 months and felt hugely better. After we did 4 sessions, I was completely healed and went, whoa, I sure wish I was smart enough to learn how to do this, which tells you where my self-esteem still was. And sure enough, I was smart enough to learn how to do this. And once I realized that it was quite easy and I started really applying it to myself, I went like this as a person, as a spiritual practitioner. So it came down from the esoteric wisdom collecting and turned into actual natural, effortless experience. And my healing practice went off the hook as far as plenty of people coming in. And people were saying things to me like, you look different. I trust you more now. Your eyes seem more steady. You seem more calm. You seem more grounded. And the only thing that had changed was I started doing EFT on myself. And I just never looked back. I was like, oh my gosh, everyone needs to know how to do this. This is a tool for the times, and it accelerates spiritual development, manifestation powers, building anything that you want to build out in the world, because it undoes the deep, deep subconscious limbic imprint that we're all coded with as we enter this world, so that you actually can undo that programming and reprogram yourself, and then your body begins to function as your spirit has intended, and it's such a beautiful thing. So I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yes, and so much more. I personally remember a few times at Red Lightning at Burning Man where I'm in this mass of thousands of people under this incredible shade structure, following you through EFT practices. I think I taught a workshop right before you in one case, and I stayed, and I remember this particular one was really, really potent and beautiful for me because it was, I saw what you were doing was creating a space where all of these people inside of the space could actually tap into a really deep, intimate experience with someone else, and particularly with a stranger. And you were doing EFT work that that was, you know, about getting comfortable with being vulnerable with people and getting comfortable in that space of total presence with somebody. I remember I sat across from this girl and, you know, was basically just letting her touch my hand, you know, and I was like touching her palm, and, you know, we traded this experience of just making contact and then tapping around, feeling comfortable and feeling okay, and allowing yourself to be touched and allowing yourself to share touch with somebody else, and allowing that space of connection to be there. And it was so beautiful. And I actually ended up running into her and her friends later on that night and partying with them all night and just having a total blast until sunrise. And it was out of, you know, the 50,000 people in this massive place, somehow at some random event, I just happened to be dancing right next to them. And the beauty of that little spark of creating a connection and creating an intimacy, and going through some kind of shift inside of yourself that then sustains a resonance into your life. So that literally somehow I sustained the resonance of that little spark of connection and that little adjustment that I had made, so that later that night I actually called back in that experience and brought that person right back to me to be able to hang out with them and play with them and all night and hang out with their friends, and just had an absolute ball. And there are so many other layers of movement that I've experienced with EFT and tapping myself. And I realized that that giving ourselves the messages, you know, one of the things that's profound about it for me is that when you speak out loud and you say to yourself things that are true, your body responds with the total agreement of the truth. If it's true, if it's not true, your body's like, you know, your system's like, nope, that doesn't work. That's not good. That's basic kinesthesiology. It's basic muscle testing, which I use all the time just to sometimes figure out what I want at the restaurant menu, you know? But when we do speak things that are true and we restore truth by speaking them, it's very powerful in our lives. When we love and accept ourselves, is one of these phrases that you use in this process, and speak that loving and acceptance of ourselves. And now that message, you know, which we cover in the ambassador courses a lot, we talk about how the power of the voice and the power of the word helps to actually shape what we're creating, how we're resonating inside of our bodies, and what we're actually experiencing. But we're also linking that with this healing form, which is tapping on these meridian lines inside the body. Do you want to share a little bit more with everyone about the meridians and about the process of going into this work?
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're using our fingers to percussively tap on the same points that an acupuncturist might place a needle in order to regulate the current in that particular wire in the body. So let me just zoom out for a minute and talk about what meridians are. Meridians are the circuit of the body, the circuitry of the body. So imagine that your body's a house, okay? And you get these power surges where you get overwhelmed, you feel embarrassed, you feel attacked, you feel panicked, and the circuit breaker will blow fuses to keep the house from catching on fire. So your body shorts out. And if you don't go back and flip back and forth the circuit breaker after the big power surge is over, the power stays out there. So a lot of people don't know that their body, their mind shuts down to protect them from freaking out or killing themselves or killing and attacking somebody else. So we actually have this default way of protecting ourselves and other people, which makes us kind of go into low power mode. And what EFT does is it opens up the circuit box and goes, oh, let's see, what happens if I flip all the circuits back and forth while I'm releasing the thing that was overwhelming, and the power comes back on in the body. So an acupuncturist would stick a needle in to help drain out excessive charge, or like an antenna to draw in to the meridian line where there's not enough energy to rebalance the body. And instead of using needles, they found that you can just stimulate with gentle percussive tapping the same points and get the same effect. And so we go through all the circuits of the body over and over. It's very simple, so you don't have to kind of do the muscle testing, figure out where the misalignment is, see if I got the right correction, is this the right affirmation, which is how it used to be done. And now we just have a very simple kind of like healing for dummies, buckshot approach. Let's just do all the circuits and say love and sort through some questions that will help us get down to the bottom of it, so it's a lot faster. And what happens in this process is we're going to tap the circuits of the body, acknowledging the experience that we either are having currently, like I'm feeling stressed, or an experience we had before, which is stored in a memory bank in your brain. And as you reference that information, that stored trauma or that stored stress comes out of your nervous system and literally passes out of your body. So tapping, although it looks a little silly because we're just tapping on our body and chatting away to ourselves, people have these massive physical discharges of energy when they're doing it. And that off-gassing might come in the form of laughter or tears, burping, crying, huge heat waves moving through the body, suddenly feeling like they're kind of on a low dose of an organic psychedelic substance for a minute, because you're literally doing brain surgery. You're unhinging neural networks in the brain that have been bonded together through an intense emotion, which we call learning. Like, that's when I learned to never do that again. And that's when I decided that this is how things were. That's actually sealing a protein bond between two sets of synapses or more sets of synapses in the brain, so that you don't have to keep redeciding if that's true. It's true because there's a bridge now that says this equals that, no questions asked. And we get a lot of those beliefs, which are neural networks that have been glued together from our families, a lot from age 0 to 10. Some of it's past life, where we have strong emotional experiences. We drop our bodies, we come pick right back up with that same strong emotional experience. And then another aspect of it is we actually get inherited beliefs, believe it or not, that are encoded into the egg and the sperm. So there'll be later courses where we'll go into transgenerational memory. But the cool thing is that tapping works on all of it. So whether you're coming in being like, I just want to feel better about myself, I want to pick up my self-esteem, or you're at a place where it's like, I'm wanting to manifest something and I'm scared, and all these self-sabotaging beliefs or habits come up. EFT will work for all of that, including past life stuff where you're having flashbacks and you're wanting to detox and finish processing unresolved emotional trauma from another time and place.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a past life regression and integration course later on this year that I'm working on. So that's going to be exciting, and we'll loop back into some of these modalities to help people clear some of the stuff that can come up from that. One of the things that we talk about a lot in the Guardian Alliance as well is this idea of the different ways that information is transferred through time from person to person, and also, you know, going through our ancestral lines as well as from ourselves to ourselves. And there's several scientific studies that have emerged recently that show that very clearly memory is stored also genetically, and that offspring of different animals can actually have some of the exact same memory triggers and respond to things the same way that their parents or their parents' parents responded to those things, which tells us that there's an information charge that we're holding literally in every single one of our cells of our bodies, and some of those charges are configured specifically to experiences that our ancestors have had, our parents, our grandparents. And when you start to go back down the line a little bit and you see like the Depression and World War I, you know, World War II, obviously more recently, and Vietnam War. But as you keep going back, you see that there have been over and over again, like some very, very intense traumatic time periods in which people underwent a lot of challenge around their safety. And, you know, most people have someone in their lineage that's Irish, for example. And you know, if you have any ancestry from Ireland, well, you know, you had English coming in and raping and pillaging your towns, and, you know, burning and slaughtering anyone who had any kind of herbal work going on or any kind of magical, so to speak, tradition. And that same thing was repeated over and over again. If you have a French lineage, you dealt with the Inquisition on some level. If you have Japanese lineage, you dealt with the wars, the early, really intense Daisho wars, and on before that. If you have Chinese lineage, you dealt with like different periods of time in which there were very, very intense warring and control strategies and stuff going on in China and in India, and so on and so forth. Wherever you're from, whatever your lineage is in the world, not to mention Africa, if you're from, you know, you have African lineage, you're still dealing with the information transmission of the slave trade. And this is, and there have been slaves made of different peoples of different races all over the world. And so part of this work is recognizing that even if you only just believe in genetics as the fundamental information, you know, genome transfer agent that makes you up in this body right now, you're still dealing with thousands and thousands of years of different karmas and traumas and things that people in your ancestry have faced. And so working on yourself now, the beauty is that if you're willing to be conscious of it, and you're willing to do that forgiveness work and willing to do that healing work, you can actually completely change your genetic structure and epigenetically change all the gene triggers in your body, so that when you have kids, or if you already have kids, that you're not passing that resonance on to them, so that they actually can be freed from this resonance of those traumatic periods throughout your history. And
that's exactly true, Adam. Exactly true. And I want to add to that and say, I call it pulling the thread all the way through for our lineages. So somebody started the ball rolling down the hill and said, we're the dog kicking family. It can even be subtle stuff like, well, we all just get abandoned by our spouses, or we all get cancer, right? They've shown that cancer is as likely to happen to a kid who's adopted into a family of people with cancer than the people who are born to that family, because they're psychologically and energetically holding that in their field. And so we all expect everyone to get it. And whenever anyone in any family decides that they're going to just say, the buck stops here, I'm going to process, digest, and transmute the stuff about being a woman, the stuff about being blonde, the stuff about being this age, the stuff about birthing in a certain way that our mothers have always done, childbirth, whatever it is, all that stuff comes clear, and you get to be the reset point for, well, an entire lineage. And all of these people, if you have the psychic kind of medium skill thing, I have some of that. These dead people show up and they're like, thank you so much. You know, they're so psyched when any of us do it. The ancestors gather around and they're just so relieved because they don't get to feel restful until the ball that they set in action stops rolling from generation to generation. And we are those people. You know, we're the people to be able to do this, and it's so beautiful. So it's a win for personal, win for community, win for ancestors, win for planet Earth, and beyond, wherever this stuff really started, right?
Right. Absolutely. And the other layer to that is that because our bodies are resonant organic structures and we putting off an electromagnetic field at all times, and we've found that if you take DNA from an animal and you put that DNA over here and in a jar, and then the animal experiences some kind of challenge or intensity or intense emotional thing, we watch and the DNA over here actually reacts to it. So there's a connection between us and any place that our DNA has gone, but also with people in our families and also with other people, because we share a lot of the same gene codes as other people. And so when we realize that when we do this kind of deeper emotional and spiritual healing work on ourselves, we can actually become a resonant key that is then passed to other people. So our presence and just our healed up nature walking around actually gives and offers to other people this gift so that they can actually start receiving that translation for how their trauma can be healed as well. And we don't even have to say anything. It's actually true. Just in our presence.
We become a template, an energetic template for what a whole human being feels like.
Yeah. And for me, you know, a lot of in my personal journey, a lot of the deeper work that I've been doing is reclaiming and working on different genetic structures that I've had in different lifetimes coming into the now. And because I didn't choose to have those memories, I didn't choose to encounter the people that would spontaneously have recall experiences with me of other places in which we never lived in this life. We've never experienced in this life. We've never even been to many of these places, and yet have very direct, very visceral, very real emotional and physical experiences in these different places. And when those memories come in, which they do for many people, there's a lot to work with, because you're dealing with lots of different genetic lines across entirely different time periods. And in my perspective, this is working on the soul genome and actually working on that thread that is our personal lineage as a being. You know, when you die, do you just stop? In my experience, the answer to that is no. Do you just go to heaven forever or just go to hell forever? In my experience, I've been to heaven a couple of times or many times. And yet there's also a choice that I have to come back and incarnate again and be in a body again. And the experience of coming back and coming into a body again allows me to do more of my work to bring heaven to earth. And a lot of my deepest soul purpose and mission in my existence is to actually bring the principles and experiences of what it's like to experience heaven and recognize divinity in each and every person, each and every being, and allow that level of awareness and experience to become fully present here in our experience here on this planet. And I believe that this kind of healing modality and others are tools that we can use to realign with that sacred awareness of who we truly are and what we're here to do.
That's absolutely true. And that also is my mission and purpose, to create heaven on earth together. Yeah. And so as much as I think we've gone into some really like advanced esoteric stuff when we're really talking about the like EFT level 1 course, and I just want to like kind of gentle it down to like the baby step, which is I want to feel better. I want to release some thoughts, some negative thoughts that I notice my inner voice is battering me around with on a regular basis. That's where we start. We start with where we're at. So imagine that we're cleaning up a house, and you know, Adam and I are talking about building these like divine mansions with gold and light pouring in, and you're like, I've been living in a box and I want a little bit of a nicer space. So it's like, okay, I want to clean up where I'm at. So we just look down and be like, well, where am I at right now? What am I worried about? What if I could wave a magic wand across it would bring me some stress relief and some inner peace? And just like cleaning a house, you just pick up where you're standing, and pretty soon you're walking around the whole house, and over time the whole place gets clean and beautiful and rebuilt. And then you want to, you know, put on additions and bring in the party and make it all happen. But I just want to say that, you know, Adam and I are both kind of spiritual geeks, you could say, and we get all nerded out in the bigger, you know, visionary picture. But give yourself just a little curiosity is all you really need to be like, okay, well, what happens if I choose one little thing that's irritating me today and I tap on it for 5 minutes and talk to myself about it? Will I experience a difference? And if you do, then you're like, there's something to this. Maybe I'll put a little more effort into this and a little more time. And as you go, you'll find that you're going to feel lighter and clearer and just more yourself. It's not like you're going to become someone else. You're just going to be more of who you were designed to be and less of what you were told you were, from either inside yourself or from our culture.
Yeah, thank you. Well, let's experience some EFT. Do you want to either share a little bit about the course and then we can do a practice, or we could do a practice and then you could share about the course?
Let's do the practice, because you know, for me, there's just so many different spiritual practices out there, and they all sound so great. And what I'd like you to do is hold on to your skepticism. Test it out. Take it for a spin. Then you'll know if you want to go further. Okay? So let's, if you'll allow me to lead you in a little tapping session right now, let's pick one small thing that feels less than wonderful to you right now in your day. You don't have to pick your deepest childhood trauma and see if you can clear it in 5 minutes. Although I have to say, a lot of people get really fast clearing, and other things take a little more time and love to unravel the multi-layers of things. But don't be surprised if you move more than you thought you could. So choose one thing that is bothering you and get that firmly in your head. It's a little sample. Okay? So when I say this issue, that's what we are referring to for you. And you're going to fill in the blank with this issue. And Adam, I'm going to ask you to mute yourself during the tap so that people can hear themselves more clearly. Okay? And then I'm just going to do, show you the tapping points on my body. They're all above the waist, hands, face, head, and upper torso. So you're just going to learn the tapping points right now with me. No big deal, while we practice a little tapping to see if you get any movement whatsoever, which I bet you do. All right, so think about your issue again. And ask yourself, how much does this really bother me? Deep down, from 0 to 10. 10 is like maxed. I'm maxed out. 0 is nothing, so don't pick that as an issue. Okay, got a number? Okay, so what's your number, Adam?
Mine's pretty high. It's like 9 or 10.
9 or 10. He's going for it, guys. Okay, let's see what happens. Sylvia, our guinea pig, too. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to press around in the front of the chest, upper chest, upper pectoral region until you find kind of a sore spot. And you're going to be like, ah, wow, that's a little tender right there. I didn't even know. So moving around until you find kind of a tender spot and give it a light massage. This helps to clear something called psychological reversal, which means part of me wants to clear this and part of me wants to hold on to this. So it gets your mind in alignment with the fact that it probably would be great to be able to discharge some of this fear or pain or stress. And by the way, EFT works for physical issues too. People have all kinds of miraculous healings on physical pain and physical symptoms with tapping. Okay, so you got your issue, you're massaging your sore spots, and I want you to practice the breath that we're going to be using, which is a big noisy sigh. That kind of sigh, okay? Now you're going to tap the beginning of your eyebrows right here where your eyebrows start, so to the side of your third eye, right on your eyebrows, and just repeating after me. We're going to toggle back and forth between how you really feel and what you might really be thinking and a more loving, positive version. But we're going to put a lot of loving attention and empathy on the negative aspects first, because that's what your subconscious is actually holding on to. So we're going to tap and just acknowledge. Repeat after me, remembering that you can modify these words to more closely fit your own experience. Ready? Even though I have this issue, and state what your issue is. Slide down your eyebrows to the edge of your temples, tapping at the edge of the eye socket. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Tap the front of your cheekbones. Even though I have this issue. Say your issue again. And sigh. Tapping under the nose. I'm open to loving and forgiving myself. Tapping under the lips. This issue. Say your issue again and focus on it for a minute. Try not to judge it. Don't try to change it or to heal it. We're just acknowledging the issue as it is. Tapping the chest. Spread your fingers out. Tapping a circle around on the chest down to your sternum. I feel stressed about this. Okay, now we're going to drop down to the front of the rib cage. I'm going to roll back here so you can see. And we're going to tap the front of the rib cage, bottom of the ribs. This issue that I feel so much stress about. Focusing on the issue again and the level of stress or tension you have around it. Now we're going to tap the side of the rib cage. Side seam of the body, nipple height, straight across. So you can tap like this with the back of your hands, or you can cross your arms like this. This issue that I feel what about? What do you really feel about this? Take 10 seconds and blurt it out. Now we're going to tap the inside of the wrist. Put your hand on your wrist. Move your hand up and down. Feel that little bone that pops up and down. We're going to tap right there. This issue that I feel fear about. And fill in the blank for yourself. Maybe you feel sad about. Okay, put your hand like you're going to karate chop something. Look down at the top of your thumb and tap right there at the top edge of your nail. This issue that I feel what about? Big, deep, noisy breath. Keep tapping on your thumb. Now we're going to tap the index finger. Even though I've been holding on to this, for how long? Is it a day, a week, a year? Is it many years, weeks? Tap your middle finger, same place. I'm open to loving and releasing this. Tap the bottom of your fourth finger, right here, bottom of the side of your fingernail. I'm holding on to this issue because part of me thinks it's useful. Tap the little finger. I've been holding on to it in order to do what? What have you been holding on to this stress or fear or anger or pain about? Why have you been holding on to it? Is it to protect yourself? Big sigh. Tap the side of the hand. Part of me wants to do what? I'm trying to take care of myself by shutting down these feelings and avoiding them. Tap the top of the head. I'm trying to get through my day, and part of me wants to make sure that I don't make the same mistake again. Tap the sides of the head and the back of the head. I'm open to loving and forgiving myself. Tapping behind the ears and breathing. Tap the eyebrows. Even if I have this issue, say your issue again and breathe. Tap the temples. And I've been blaming who? Who have you been blaming? Tap the cheeks. Part of me has been blaming myself. Tap into the nose. And I might also be blaming who? Tap under the lips. I'm open to loving and forgiving myself. Tap the chest. Even though part of me doesn't want to acknowledge the feelings of, what are one or two feelings that you really don't want to acknowledge that are here? Is it anger? Is it frustration? Is it exhaustion? Big noisy breath. Let's say that 3 or 4 times. I don't want to acknowledge my, and then you fill in the blank for you. A couple of feelings. Say it 3 times. I don't want to acknowledge my feelings of what? I don't want to acknowledge my feelings of, say it again. Okay, and one more time. I really don't want to acknowledge these feelings of, say it again. And tap the front of the ribs. Because I'm supposed to be beyond this. Tap the side of the ribs. Because I'm afraid if I acknowledge them, I'm going to get really upset. Big deep breath. Tap the inside of the wrist. I'm open to acknowledging these feelings with compassion for myself. So we've just switched hands here. And now we're going to tap the top edge of your other thumb. I'm open to acknowledging these old feelings of, say those same couple of feelings again. And sigh. Tap your index finger. No matter how long I've been blaming or shaming, and then say who you might be blaming or shaming. Tap your middle finger. I'm open to forgiving myself for holding on to this frustration, this pain and fear. Tap the bottom of the 4th finger. Any guilt or shame or sadness. Tap the little finger. I'm doing the very best I can. Tap the side of the hand. And I'm allowing that to be good enough for now. Tap the top of the head. This issue. Tuning into your issue that we've just been discussing. Say what it is and tune into how much emotional charge is still there. What number would you give it now? Can we hear back from you, Adam?
I'm down to about a 3.
From like a 9 or 10 to a 3, and we've tapped for 5 minutes.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So just tap the chest. I'm allowing myself the possibility of receiving the support and love, the help and the understanding that I need. I don't have to do this alone.
And it's funny, when we started continuing, it went back up to like 5 or 6. It was like,
Yeah.
whoa, there it is again. Okay.
So what that is, Adam, is the core issue is dissolving, but it has all these roots that come out because it's attached to other things and other belief structures. So it's kind of like a big amorphous blanket in there. So you just depleted or deleted a bunch of information, and now it's taking you on a side tangent because this is what's been growing the whole thing. And the issue you're working on is kind of a surface thing that is attached to other deeper things. And a lot of people are going to have that same experience. So we're doing a really baby version of this right now. So let's just wrap it up as you've had an experience. And let's just tap here and say, even if there's more to process, and it might have to do with what? What's your first intuitive hit of what is underneath this? Tap the front of the ribs. It's okay. I'm allowing myself to get underneath this with forgiveness and compassion for how it got there. Tap the side of the ribs. No matter how long this has been bothering me, and the things that are underneath it have been bothering me. Tap the inside of the wrist. Let's go back to the original side. I'm still a good person. Tap the side of the thumb. I'm still worthy of love. Tap the index finger, and I'm willing to do what I need to do to heal, grow, and learn. Tap the middle finger to bring peace and balance back to myself. Tap the bottom of the fourth finger. I'm allowing myself to clear, to heal, to grow, and to evolve. Tap all over the body, giving yourself 3 positive affirmations. If you were your own best guardian angel or your best friend, what would you say to yourself right now? And just notice how you're feeling. I'd love for you beautiful beings who are here live with us to put in the chat how you're feeling. What is it like for you? What are you noticing?
Yeah, for those of us who are on the Guardian Alliance page, there's a chat box down below. We've had some hellos from Annabella, Mateo, but anybody else who's in here that wants to say hi, tell us where you're from, tell us what you're feeling, and share with us in the comment field what's going on for you. Thank you.
How are you feeling, Adam?
I'm feeling good. I feel like I definitely was able to discharge a lot of the emotion that was directly related to my experience today or this morning, and what was just moving for me. And I also was able to, in that second round, when I kind of felt that other wave, it took a minute. I had to kind of really sink in deeper, but then I kind of felt the line of what it's more deeply connected to. So I think it's a good thing to like have picked that up, and I feel like that emotion is at least moving a little and surfaced, and it's not super intense. But that I can now maybe go through your course, and I'll go through and experience it again and do some of that deeper work on myself from what I surfaced inside this little session. So thank you.
Good. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for honoring this work in yourself and me with that commitment. And I just want to say that people don't realize that their emotional body is their causal body. That whatever we have jammed up emotionally, which we pretty much as humans don't know what to do with our emotional body, we override it with our intellect. We bypass it with our spiritual bypasses and just like hang out in crown chakra land where everything is nice. Or we go down into the physical body and try to work out just the logistics of life. But the emotional body is the bridge between your spiritual soul, true nature, and your physical, how I'm showing up in the world and what I'm capable of. And it's the place that's the most jammed up. So as we unfold the emotional body, We have so much more ability to handle the details of life, to keep our focus, to feel joyous and buoyant, and to cause and create like wizards. So I hope you all get inspired to do this. This is not only my passion, but it's just so clear to me how having mastery over your emotional body, that means mastery with, not over, but with, through, like quickly learning how to discharge, is a life-saving skill, and really brings you back to life. And there's so many places we can go. I can teach you about surrogate tapping, helping people like babies and animals and people who are in comas and that kind of stuff too. So we've got so much to do. And I did want to share just like the little recap of what's going on inside this course and where it can lead. Are you ready for that?
Yeah, please show us the course. And while you're pulling that up, I'll just share with anyone who took the Star Walker course with us to translate what she was saying. In the Star Walker course, we look at each one of the layers of the energy body, and we talk about the physical layer, the emotional layer, the mental layer or astral layer, and then we talk about the causal layer. And the causal is like the heart layer, and the emotional etheric is like the sacral layer, and they're both parts of the emotional body. And when you go on up to the third eye layer, you also are tapping the emotional body, but it's the collective emotional field. And so the heart space and that etheric layer deeply inform each other, and they form bridges between these other layers of our being, like our minds and our bodies. For example, when we're getting down into the astral to the gross worlds, the etheric, the emotional layer, is the medium that connects those two layers of our energy bodies and actually allows the transmission of what's going on in our minds to then influence the physical world. And so emotional blockages and emotional challenges are really blockage of energy motion, or chi, or prana, or ki. There are many, many terms for this vibrational field on the etheric level. And so when our emotions are stuck, we not only have difficulty embodying and grounding, but we also can have difficulty actually creating and taking our mental ideas and bringing them down into physical form. So this can work on our manifestation abilities and so much more beyond just feeling good, which is, of course, its own benefit.
Right, Adam. That's totally true what you're saying. Can you see my screen?
Yes, looks great.
Great. Okay, so this is just a sneak peek into this course, where on this page in lesson 2, you're going to learn the tapping points, which is kind of more of what you just learned in this little demo. You're also going to get to see a very cool video that the Italians made for an acupuncture school that I found, the meridians in motion. So it's so cool to see them animated, moving and flowing, and not just on a still chart, but see them flow through the body and which organs are primarily affected and how they light up. You're going to see, you're going to learn how EFT originated and all its variety of uses, including people showing you blood tests of what happens to your blood after 5 minutes of tapping under a dark field microscope, and people healing things that are impossible to heal, so they say, with EFTs. It's very inspirational. You will, of course, discover the tapping points on your own body, see your meridians in motion, see the science behind the subconscious mind. Bruce Lipton does a wonderful job talking about the subconscious mind, which is 1,000,000 times more powerful than the conscious mind. So you really got to get your subconscious mind in alignment with what you consciously desire, and that's what we're doing with EFT. You're going to do a lot of powerful mini taps with me, like the one we just did, but on really specific subjects that are between 10 and 15 minutes long. You'll feel the actual power of love and acceptance to dissolve these blockages and realign you. And you're going to get a full-length EFT session, which is about 90 minutes, so that you can really go deep on an issue. And you're going to receive a free month of healing afterwards. in the World Tapping Circle. So here's an example of the mini taps, which I have recorded for you. And the World Tapping Circle is a live stream that I do every Monday, and you're going to get access to that as a part of this course. And that's on Monday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. And it includes hundreds of hours of tapping videos in my video library at worldtappingcircle.com. So you have 24 access to about as much tapping as anyone could ever want.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
you're going to get a huge boost in your ability to heal yourself.
Yay. Thank you so much. Yeah, so when we wrap up this session, I'll just do a quick, show you guys really quickly a screen share of exactly how to get the course and get into the course and start it. And you can get started right now today if you want, or you can come in and do it later. Sonya is extremely generous in offering this course for only $15. So it's a great deal to get in there and actually experience this beautiful healing modality, learn about it, get started with it, and of course offering a free month of her World Tapping Circle healing sessions is just awesome. And you're going to be in there with tons of people doing this work together, and there is so much power to the collective charge that can be experienced when you do this work in big groups of people. I can tell you, because I've done this work with 1,000 people together in a massive space at Red Lightning at the Burning Man Festival with Sonya, and it's quite a phenomenal experience, feeling that collective charge of healing happening for everyone, and you're releasing codes in everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So within the Guardian Alliance context, this course is what we consider a healer course. It's rooted in the healership, but it's part of our harmonic series, which is about actually balancing and connecting two of the different archetypes. So for those of you that have experienced a lot of courses in the Guardian Alliance, you know that we have the warriors and, the physical training, and the weavers emotional training, and the wizards mental mastery and magical creation, and the healers, which are bridging and connecting both personal and interpersonal love and compassionate work to restore ourselves and our true nature. And so this is a healer rooted course, but it's also an ambassador course. So it's healer ambassador. And the ambassador aspect is that through doing this work, you're actually learning how to communicate key changes to your body to change how you feel and how you are on the inside. And the same communication messages that you develop through this personal transformation work also become powerful healing tools and expression tools that you can use in your communication with others. You begin realizing that how to speak about shadow in yourself, and how to speak about with honesty and authenticity the challenges that you're experiencing while loving and accepting yourself. And then also speaking about what you're choosing is one of the most powerful vocal vehicles that we have. So we consider it a healer ambassador linked course. And it's part of the harmonic series of Mastery Ring 2. We also always assign a gene key to each one of our courses, which is actually an I Ching symbol. And I'll just show you guys here the I Ching symbol for this key. Hopefully it's going forward for you guys.
That's beautiful.
But as you can see, it's green here on the root. It's mountain for the healers, and it's blue up here, which is water for the ambassadors. And the transformation in this key is the transformation of provocation through the gift of dynamism to the divine gift of liberation. And so what we're really talking about is this experience where we might feel trapped, we might feel provocative, the way that emotions trap us, they push buttons. When we feel something and we don't actually expose it to other people, and we don't actually let it out, what we end up doing is we end up provoking conflict. We end up creating more of the emotional field that we're not recognizing and accepting in ourselves. So how do we work through that? Well, one of the things is through dynamism. And what this means is about being dynamically accepting of whatever it is that we're feeling, knowing that in itself, the emotion is not bad. It's not bad to have a feeling. Feelings we judge often as good or bad, but in reality, they're just energy. They're just feelings. And if we can allow ourselves to move with those feelings, to experience them fully and to accept them fully, then we actually begin to dynamically move with that energy. And all of a sudden that energy starts to change. It starts to dynamically change and move into a new state of charge. And at its highest state, that release that happens is this beautiful liberation experience where we actually get freed from the places where we've trapped ourselves, where we've provoked conflict, and we actually realize that just by feeling and actually accepting our feelings, we become a force of liberation for the entire world. And this key is particular is called the tension of transcendence. And I just love that because there's this provoking going on in your bodies. There's this tension. There's the dynamic flow of the emotions that are coming up. But then all of a sudden you start to actually transcend the feeling through new choices. And the tension opens up into this whole new layer of awareness. And it's quite a beautiful experience. And I also love that the physiology of this gene key, this specific genetic code in our bodies, is the adrenals. And you know, adrenals, man, the adrenaline that we get from resisting emotion or, you know, intensely provocative emotion, is so powerful. And healing our adrenals and healing the process of what brings in adrenaline. Adrenaline is what, you know, is directly response to our fight or flight sort of experiences and different challenges in our lives. So balancing our adrenals actually balances all kinds of emotional experiences in our lives. It allows us to be able to sit with tension and accept it more deeply.
And you're speaking so profound truth there, Adam. I want to say, to put it really simply, people, you're going to get your life force back, and you're going to experience tangible inner peace. Because when your adrenals aren't firing, what you're left with is a sense of deep calm and peace that isn't something you're efforting to try to hold on to, because in the absence of fear, your resting state is peace. And this transcendent experience that he's talking about is, truthfully, you're getting your life force credits back from where they've been held hostage by energetic little gremlins inside your own head. And you're going to be given that energy back. So you're not like needing to clear the room because you pulled this stuff out of you. It recycles right here in your own energy body, and you're given back your natural life force, which immediately goes to work to repair your physical body, to give you more access to your genius, to give you more spiritual power, enhances your telepathy, enhances all kinds of natural abilities that we have. So Adam, I'm so excited to be doing this with you, and I look forward to launching more courses within your beautiful school that you've created. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sonya, for being with us and for creating this course for this community and sharing it with your community, and also just for offering and providing such beautiful support and healing to our community for a long time. Many of you might know that if you go to the support link on the Guardian Alliance page, there's been a link there to get support through the World Tapping Circle and through Sonya's work for a long time now. And so that's another way that you can just access her work and get involved. But the best way is to just dive into this course. You'll get the free month of tapping. I'm going to go ahead and pull on screen sharing, and I'll just show you guys really quickly the best way to go in and get the course and get started with it. And Sonya, just thank you again so very much for just your beautiful presence and sharing with us. I really look forward to having you in this space more and doing more great work with you in this community and in others. And so you're, of course, always invited back. Let us know whenever you want to come back and do another live session with us, another healing session. Love to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, so here's the page that many of you are on, which is the EFT level 1 with Sonya Sophia. If you're watching this from YouTube or another place, you can actually just go to guardianalliance.academy and then go to the blog page, and you'll see it right near the top. It'll be probably one of the most recent posts. And if you don't see it, or you're watching this later on, just scroll down and you'll find this post. And then just inside here, there's some details about the event. And right here is some info for people that arrived early. But right here is also the join the course link. And you can actually just click on this. And that will take you straight into the page here where you can get the access key for this course. It's got a little bit more info. And to get it, you just click this button, and that's going to take you to a checkout where you can basically go in and get the course. And then what will happen is in your courses menu here, it's going to show up here under Mastery Ring 2. And if you have trouble finding that blog page for any reason, you can also go under the courses menu and just click on this button here that says Get Ring 2 Access Keys. And her Emotional Freedom Techniques course in Ring 2 is right here at the top. We also have our previous Mastery Ring 2 course, which was a global summit hosted by Narayani Gaia that was beautiful with like 19 different featured speakers. It's a huge course, but really fun. But basically under this courses menu, when you click on the Mastery Ring 2 course, EFT level 1, it's going to drop you right in, give you an introduction, teach you some about tapping, and then you've got all of these different lessons in the course that you can dive into, and a whole series of different practice taps that you can do to work through things like learning how love can heal you, silencing your inner critic, dealing with the need for approval, dealing with doubt, and even a full-length tapping session. So it's about 3.5 hours of content, and you can go at your own pace. You know, take little bits at a time. You can do a tap, once a day, or a couple in a day, and you can also learn and hear from some of her previous students here on the introductory page. And when you're done, you earn this badge, which is the Healer Ambassador badge in Ring 2, and of course, that will be added to your badges in the trail map and show up here along with all of the other badges that you may have earned as you've been progressing. And as you can see, I earned the badge here. I just completed her course last night, so and getting ready for this session. And so thank you guys so much for being with us here in the Guardian Alliance. And we're so thankful to have your presence. And as always, if you need anything, you can write to us using the support link. And our team is always here and available for you. And thank you so much for being a part of this experience. And Sonya, thank you again for joining us today.
It's an honor and a privilege. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you. Aloha, everyone. See you again soon.